Good evening. Welcome to Grand Blanc Township's board meeting for Tuesday, July 21st. If you could all rise with me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Robertson, would you please call the roll?
I would be happy to call the roll, Mr. Supervisor. Supervisor Bennett?
Yes.
Time here. Treasurer Yancho?
Here.
Trustee Ryder?
Here.
Trustee Fike is absent. Trustee Hugo?
Here.
Trustee White?
Here.
6 members present, a quorum.
Thank you. And now I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Motion
Support.
by Treasurer Yancho, support by Trustee Hugo.
Supported by Hugo on the agenda. Trustee White?
Yes.
Supervisor Bennett?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Treasurer Yancho?
Yes.
Trustee Ryder?
Yes.
Trustee Hugo?
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you. And now we will go to public comment. We just ask that everybody keeps their comments to 3 minutes or less and address them to me as the chair. If anybody has filled out one of those, you want to still turn it in, bring it up right now and we'll call on you at the appropriate time here. Thank you. Okay, with that, we will have Ms. Kathy Gentry. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Kathy Gentry. I'm the Chief Operations Officer at Sloan Museum of Discovery and Longway Planetarium. I want to speak today on behalf of the Arts Education and Cultural Enrichment Millage Renewal on August 4th and encourage all Genesee County residents to vote yes for this renewal. The benefits of this millage are vast. Not only do Genesee County residents receive free general admission to Sloan Museum and Flint Institute of Arts, we also receive discounts at Longway Planetarium, the Whiting and Capitol Theater, and other Flint Institute of Music programs, Burston Fieldhouse, and McCree Theater. There are also grants given to other arts organizations throughout the county via the Greater Flint Arts Council. Genesee County arts and cultural organizations make a $130 million impact countywide, helping to support small businesses, keeping property values high, and attracting new families to our county. These organizations also support more than $63 million in personal income to county residents and keep over 2,000 jobs right here in our community annually. To continue funding our treasured institutions, I'm asking you all to join me in voting yes in the Genesee County Arts Education and Cultural Enrichment Millage Renewal on Tuesday, August 4th on that ballot. This is a fiscally responsible millage renewal. If passed, all funding from the millage renewal will be posted publicly online to promote fiscal accountability and transparency for taxpayers. Thank you for your consideration in this important request. I hope you will join me in endorsing and supporting this important millage renewal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, Tracy Glab.
Good evening, everyone, supervisor and trustees. It's a pleasure to be here today. My name is Tracy Gleb. I'm the executive director of the Flint Institute of Arts. And as Kathy, following her, I am also asking you to support the millage renewal. The Genesee County Arts Education and Cultural Enrichment Millage provides free or discounted admission to all of the lovely institutions that she mentioned and really makes Genesee County a gem. There's really nothing like anywhere in the state, what we have right here in our own backyard, and it's something you can't get anywhere else. You can't get it in books and TV and online. They're unique, one-of-a-kind experiences, hands-on for students of all ages and all backgrounds. Regardless of zip code, or regardless of where you are, they really have an opportunity to do something that's unique, fun, and really something memorable. Whenever they're courting a business or a new hire at the university, they always bring them to the cultural center and tour what's available here because it's so unique. And whenever I have out-of-town guests or people from out state or even around the world, they're like, wow, they can't believe what we have. And so it's really vital to us to continue this millage and also to continue bringing wonderful things to Genesee County. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Joyner.
Thank you. As a resident of this township, I've listened to some people talk about the flock camera system. And some of these people would suggest that life-ending paradoxes would occur should the township continue to use the flock system. And I disagree. If you look at, and this is from the state of Michigan, one of their websites, they have a map of counties that have the highest crime and are the safest. And if you notice, here's Genesee County right here, which is in the red range, which is the highest crime. Our neighbor next door in Lapeer is green, which is very safe. Saginaw County is also in the red, probably because of all the highways that run through each of those counties. For those of you behind me, you can see the Genesee counties right here, and that's the highest crime. These are the highest crime counties in the state. If you go to the website for the township and go into the police department, you'll get a listing that you can see where there's the flock camera. And it gives you some good information on how the township uses this. And it's very important that you understand how this is used. What is detected are license plates and vehicles. What's not detected, facial recognition, people, gender, race. The data is used by law enforcement purposes only, and the data is only owned by Grand Blanc Township, Michigan PD, and is never sold to third parties. Prohibited uses, these are important too. Immigration enforcement, traffic enforcement, harassment or intimidation, usage based solely on protected class, race, sex, religion, personal use. All system access requires a valid reason and is stored indefinitely. So if there's any issues with somebody using the system incorrectly, that information can be researched. Also, when you have a hot list from this system, they are required to be human verified prior to action. The data retention is also important.
30 seconds.
30 days. So after 30 days, an image is deleted. Also, the total number of cameras is 20. In the last 30 days, 373,924 unique plate reads were done. And the number of hot list hits is 2,714 for the last 30 days. I don't think this is a system that is being misused. And considering the crime picture here that we have, I think it's important that we provide our police with as much
Time.
technology that they can use. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no further public comment, we will close public comment and move to a privileged presentation. First, I just want to welcome somebody new. We've got Asia. Stand up, Asia. Asia is one of our interns that's working with us for the summer in our community engagement, and she's a student of public administration. So we're pleased to have Asia with us this evening for the board meeting and with us for the summer. She'll be shadowing a few of us as we go to various meetings. So anyways, we want to welcome Asia to our staff for now. Let's see. So privileged presentation. The board first is going to hear a mid-season update from Rose Pest Solutions and with regard to mosquitoes in our mosquito abatement program. I was telling them earlier that we've been plagued with smoke and very concerning parasite, but thankfully the mosquitoes this summer are, at least so far, I'm not going to say anything about them other than I think that I'm pleased with the level of, or lack of them so far.
We certainly don't want to jinx it
I know
at this point.
I'm not going to say those words, but
Well, good evening to you all. My name is Cliff. I'm your account manager with Rose Pest Solutions. I oversee the contract with Grand Blanc Township and all the record keeping that goes along with it. We're very grateful for our partnership with Grand Blanc Township. It's our longest standing municipal mosquito partnership. We're very thankful to continue to protect your residents year after year. I'm just here to let you guys know we have had a fantastic season so far. It's been very dry. Hunter is going to give you some technical details that are all also dry to some folks. But I just want to also let you know that we're continuing to evolve as well. We're making investments in our infrastructure and in our employees. Hunter being a new add-on from last season, we do continue to have a dedicated mosquito supervisor in charge of these accounts. If there's any questions that you guys have for me, I'm happy to answer, but Hunter will be able to get into the meat and potatoes of what we've been doing on the ground.
okay. Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Hunter. For anyone that didn't hear that, I am the mosquito coordinator, so I oversee the program's day-to-day operations. Just a little bit about the season so far. It's been warmer than normal for most of the season. Super rainy April turned into a really dry May, kind of balanced itself out in June, and now we're getting back into the dry spell. So with that, mosquito populations have been down. The light traps haven't caught very much at all this year, so we haven't had to do any of the nighttime truck foggings yet. So I'm happy for that. Means a little less mosquito populations going around there. So all the light traps, all the tests that have been done so far have been negative. No West Nile virus has been detected, so that's always a great thing. We started doing the larviciding on April 13th and then moved into doing barriers on May 18th. So far, we've used over 17,000 ounces of the Alticid larvicide granules, almost 5,800 of the larvicide bricks, about 240 gallons of the barrier material that we do on the private property treatments, and have dedicated almost 500 hours just to Grand Blanc Township. So with the improved staffing we've had lately especially, it's made it a lot easier for us. So, and then we've received a total of 691 calls for service so far, and we've cleared 675 of those. Out of the 16 that haven't been cleared, I think about 10 of them are ones that we can't do legally because of the materials 30-day in between. So it's just residents waiting to get back on the list. I think 6 to 8 of those are going to be cleared probably tomorrow. So, yeah, outside that, like I said, it's been a very calm season so far, and we're just happy that we can help you guys out. The one thing I ask of the residents of the township is if you have any water, if you have any mosquito issues, please give us a call. We are more than happy to come out and take care of whatever we can, and we are also very happy to educate you on what you can do to help yourselves too. So if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer it.
So how do our number of phone calls for this summer compare to, say, last year or two?
So right now, they're down a little bit from last year. I do know we did get a huge jump the 3 days leading up to the 4th of July last year, which we didn't see this year. But then again, it also, that drought spell kind of hit after the 4th last year. So that's kind of where that disparity is between there. But yeah, I think last year when I came in for the mid-season update, I think we were closer to the 800 mark at that point in time. But like I said, we also had, I think, about 300 to 400 calls come in just in the 3 days leading up to the 4th. So,
So the amount of rain we've had is reduced, and I think, you know, what people may not understand that we try to explain is that the larvicide is a preventative type of thing where we basically put that in all standing water,
Correct.
storm sewers, what have you.
Yep.
So that basically to keep the mosquitoes being able to breed, the least effective is the fogging, and that just
Exactly.
basically is a temporary measure to bring down their numbers. But
Yep.
the real work is in all the preparation with
Yes.
with putting the larvicide in any standing water to basically keep them from breeding.
Yep. Yeah, the larvicide is by far the biggest part of the program, most effective part. We dedicate a lot of hours specifically here in Grand Blanc because you guys kind of are a bit of a swampy township in certain spots. So we just know that if we don't get out here, we're going to be behind the 8 ball from the beginning. So we would like to dedicate a lot of hours, especially really early in the season, to just you guys down here. So
Those are privileged wetlands, not swampy area.
yeah, there's definitely a few of those too, unfortunately, that have tied our hands behind our back this year a little bit. But
We pride ourselves on our natural habitat here.
sure, and trust me, I'm a nature lover too. I love going in there and I love being around them, seeing all
Okay.
the wildlife. So
Yeah. Okay, any questions? Well, thank you very much, and
thanks very much.
we'll knock on wood that we continue the summer along this route with
For sure.
the lack of those
For sure.
pesky things. Thanks. With that, we also have a presentation of the fiscal year 2025 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report and Audit by Plant Moran. We have with us this evening Keith Schmansky and Amy Taitar. Did I pronounce that correctly, both of you guys? Yes. Okay. We know them just as Keith and Amy, but good evening.
Nice to be here with you today. We're here to go over the results of the township's audit for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2025. Much like each of the last few years, I'm happy to say there are positive results to go over, starting with the fact that the financial statements once again received an unmodified opinion. That's a clean audit report and the highest level of assurance we can give to a set of financial statements. In a minute, I'm going to turn it over to Amy to walk us through the graphs and some of the financial highlights, but just at a very high level, on a short-term basis, the general fund added more than $200,000 to its fund balance. And on more of a long-term basis, the legacy costs, pension and retiree health care plans, both improved their funding percentage compared to a year ago. And both are well in excess of what the state considers their threshold for an underfunded plan. So with that, Amy, go ahead and walk us through the graphs.
Thank you, Keith. All right. Now there's an 100-plus page report that we all put together, but we didn't think that'd be a great use of time today. So we did prepare some slides just to summarize a few highlights and key takeaways from fiscal year 2025. So getting right into it, I will cover general fund first. So on this graph here, you'll see the 3-year history of general fund revenue. Total revenue this year was $22.8 million, which is up about 6% over last year. Property taxes does remain the largest source of revenue for the township, as you can see by that red portion of the bar graph. That makes up 58% of revenue, and then followed by that, your next highest would be state shared revenue at 22%, and then that other category at 16% of total revenue. And then other would be things like special assessments, federal and local grants, other miscellaneous items. Overall, every revenue category this year saw an increase outside of interest and cable franchise fees, which those two items did decrease just a slight amount. Property taxes, it does continue to systematically increase as you're seeing property values continue to increase. This next slide is the same 3 years history for general fund, but instead of revenue, we're looking at expenditures now. Total expenditures for 2025 were $25.7 million, which is up about 17% over last year. The biggest increase you'll see as far as the categories of expenditures would be in public works this year. So the driving force behind that would be the increased special assessment projects. So think about Wishing Well, for example. Those costs are incurred up front and then paid back to the township over time. So if you were to exclude the public works category within these expenditures that you're seeing, your overall increase was 5% this year. So as you can tell, it's quite a bit different. Police does remain the township's biggest spend category here at 42% of total expenditures. So we've covered revenue, we've covered expenditures. To round out this kind of general fund discussion, I did want to briefly touch on fund balance. So at year end, general fund did have fund balance of 6.2 million in total. Of this amount, about 500,000 is either in non-spendable form, so think about prepaid balances, or restricted as related to mosquitoes, very relevant to this conversation, mosquito spraying, or tree replacement and some other minor items. Then of the 6.2 million, there's also 1.5, which is assigned for capital projects and retirement benefits. And then the residual balance, which you see on this slide as the blue bar, is 4.1 million. So this amount can be used to fund future township operations. As far as trends go, the township's unassigned fund balance has been increasing over the last 3 years. You can see that on the chart there. And the last 2 years, it has remained steadily at about 18% of revenue. Now, I know we talked a lot so far, focusing specifically on the general fund, but there's a lot more going on here at the township than just what is reflected in the general funds. There's also capital projects and other governmental funds, as well as the DPW, that are all part of the township. And then on top of that, the township also collects about 79 million of property taxes for other entities. All things considered, this slide, the story that we're trying to tell is that total revenue and receipts handled by the township is more than 131 million. So this is really quite significant considering the general fund numbers that we went through. So there's a lot more going on that the township is handling aside from just the general fund. Now, that being said, I think there's sometimes a misconception that because taxpayers make their check out to the township, that all that money is just kept here and spent here. And this slide is a really great visual to show us that that's not exactly the case. As far as that money coming in, only less than a quarter stays with the township. The rest go to schools, the county, all those various places that you can see the taxing authorities on the slide here. Now, going into these last couple of slides, as Keith mentioned earlier, we did want to hit on long-term legacy costs. I know he gave you the Cliff Notes version, but I'll go in a little bit deeper here, starting with pension. Now, just as a reminder here, your pension is reported on a one-year lag. So within your 2025 statements, the pension is reflected as of December 31st, 2024. And that's because that's the most recent information available for MERS, which is the pension system. And that's also why your bar chart looks kind of funky and just has bars going through 2024 and not 2025. When looking at those individual bars themselves, the red, that represents net pension liability, and the blue is your plan net position. Now you can see over the history that we have here, your blue does get a little bit volatile at times. And that's largely attributable to the market in any given year, and also to a lesser extent, contributions too. Strictly comparing 2024 to the prior year, your net liability remained roughly the same because your planned net position and your total liability both increased by just over 3 million. As far as the planned net position, again, this increase was due to the markets and also the contributions that the township is making into the trust. Over the years that we have here, you can see we have some numbers summarized below the bar graph. The actuarially determined contribution has been steadily increasing since 2017 and continues to through 2025. Excuse me. The row below shows, you that the township has been making some.
Water, Amy?
Yes, that would be great.
I haven't opened it yet.
I blame Keith, he made me do all the talking.
There you go.
So in addition to those required contributions increasing, the township has actually been making some additional contributions into the trust as well. So that second to the last row there shows you in the last 3 years there's been some pretty significant contributions into the trust on top of the required contribution. Finally, the last row of the chart of this bar graph is showing you the funded ratio. So that's the total pension liability compared to the net position or assets in the trust. Overall, you can see that ratio is funding really well, as Keith said earlier. It's went up this year, so you went from 69% last year to 72% this year.
So,
As of-
yeah, so with us ending that, that pension plan, basically, and going to defined contribution, it's a good thing that we are increasing that contribution because the required contribution is going to go up significantly over the next several years. So being that we have been increasing that contribution is good training for us to, or good discipline to continue with that because the required contribution is going to dramatically increase due to us ending the plan. Correct?
Exactly. You can see the trend here is, you can see that already in reality.
Mm-hmm.
Some places we show a slide with the projected contributions in the future that tells that exact same story that you're talking about. Now, lastly, with the voice that I have left, we'll cover retiree health care. So this is a very similar to graph to what you just saw with pension. But to keep you on your toes, we switched up the color. So the plan net position is in red this time, and the net liability is in blue. Sorry.
So the post the OPEB is basically, you know, things like healthcare, what have you, that we're looking at,
Correct. Yep, for your retirees.
right?
So for 2025, the net OPEB liability did decrease by $5 million, with your plan net position increasing by about $5 million, and your total liability kind of remaining more or less the same. As you can see, this is really a contrasting story to what I just told for pension and what you just went over for pension, as opposed to the actuarially determined contribution increasing. It is actually decreasing over time. And then compounded with that good news, skipping to the bottom row here, the funded ratio is also increasing. You were 100% funded last year, and this year you're actually over 100 funded at 117%.
And a note-
117%. I just want to let you sink that in for a minute. I don't really come and present a lot where there's a need for a negative portion of the access here to show a net asset in your trust. So I really do think that you all should be really proud of the hard work that you've put in. I know there's a lot of planning and budgeting that goes into getting to this funding level, especially when you see, looking back to as recent as 2020, you were below 60% funded. And now here you are sitting at 117%. So,
Yeah, our credit goes to definitely our superintendent, our staff, and board, but that 117 can be a little bit misleading in some ways in that healthcare costs that we've seen are not decreasing. And so the number of people we have, I'm not sure right off the top of my head how many people we have on retiree health care, but we have a number of people still, before we ended that plan, we have a number of people that will still be retiring with those benefits. And so that cost is not going away anytime soon. In fact, healthcare costs, as we all know, are increasing dramatically each year. So it's a good thing that we have 117% because we're going to need it in the future, I think.
yeah, as of December 31st, 2025, you have 92, whereas 49 are collecting and 43 are yet to retire, to your
Right.
point. Okay, now I'm going to let Keith do some more talking on our
Okay.
end of audit letter.
I only had one bottle of water, so Keith, you're on your
One last comment on the legacy costs. As you can see, the township has made a conscious effort to put advanced funding contributions into both the pension and the retiree health care plan. With the strong funding in the OPEB plan, that does allow you some flexibility to potentially shift some more of that excess funding in the future to the pension plan, so to more aggressively fund that and see that funding percentage hopefully continue to increase as well. So I will close things out with the smaller deliverable in your packet, which is the end of audit letter addressed to the Township Board. The highlight of this letter is what's not included, and that would be any internal control related findings. We didn't identify any significant misstatements during the audit, nor did we have any issues with segregation of duties or our tests of the township's internal control. So that really is a credit to your finance director in particular. Amy mentioned the $130 million plus of total receipts that are processed throughout the year. On top of that, there are thousands of other transactions, and we had no significant findings related to any of that activity during the year. So that, along with the fact that the township took some steps to mitigate the finding that we didn't have last year, led us to the conclusion that there was nothing to report this year, which is great news. Aside from that, there's not really much to go over in the letter. Section 1 are required communications under the auditing standards, but because there were no exceptions, there were no disagreements with management, no difficulties in performing the audit, and no misstatements that we identified. So lastly, Section 2 are legislative and informational items. These are not specific to Grand Blanc Township, but we thought might be of information to the board and management. So with that, I just want to close things out by offering a big thank you to everyone at the township who assisted throughout the audit. We were here on site for 3 weeks, but had many questions and requests before and after that time as well. So we thank everyone for their cooperation. The team always does enjoy working with your team here at the township. Everyone's very professional, so we thank Kathy and the finance team in particular, but everyone else as well. So with that, happy to pause and see if there are any questions.
Any questions for Keith or Amy? Paul, Mr. White?
And I know this won't affect, given,
Paul, if you could speak.
sorry, and I have the smoke issue the same as you do, so hearing me off. I understand that you are on it's on the, trying to phrase this, the year used is through December 31st, so it's a January to December. What was the state just passed the new budget? How is the revenue sharing going to change for this upcoming year?
As a whole, expect very modest increases. Of course, it'll depend on the sales tax collections that come throughout the year, but there were no major changes, either increases or decreases when the state budgeted to disperse.
Good. Any other questions? No, thank you very much for your great work. Kathy Solstack, our finance director, is in the back, and thank you very much, Kathy, for you and your team for your work. Dennis and Matt, Dennis Limata, Matt Kimmer, our superintendent and assistant superintendent, thank you for your great work on budgeting and keeping us aligned with where we need to be, along with our department heads, working together with our superintendent to make sure that we hit our targets. And budgeting is kind of, guesswork when you don't know what kind of revenue you're going to have. But we appreciate the great work that our finance and leadership team here do on staff to keep us in good financial shape. So thank you for the great audit and looking over everything to make sure we're good. So thank you. Anything else, Dennis, that you want to mention?
No. It's always a pleasure working with Plant Moran. They do a great job. We're happy to have them here again this year. And again, really hats off goes to Kathy and her team because they're the ones that make this work. The 3 weeks that they're on site here, pulling all the information they have to pull, it's really a credit to Kathy and her team being able to provide that information so that we can get through this rather lengthy process.
Absolutely.
When you look at, the amount of dollars that flow through our township office, $131 million, and as Amy had said, we don't get to keep all of that, just a small portion of it. It still means we have to handle those payments coming in and those payments going out and keeping track of that. And, my hat's off to everybody that's involved in that whole process. Thankfully, there's lots of people here that are, love working with numbers, including you guys, and keeping us in great shape. But, these numbers are nothing to be glossed over. When you look at that OPEB and that defined benefit pension plan and the percentages that we're looking at that we've been able to reduce those is incredible. And, talking to other municipalities that are bleeding right now, and, the economy is okay, but we have some municipalities that are really on hard times. We're grateful that we've been able to keep our ship as stable as it is and moving forward on paying down debt and doing major projects, building a brand-new fire station and DPW building, building pathways, doing over $1 million renovation to our park, all while paying down debt, so, and without a tax increase. So I think it's really outstanding news, and unfortunately, sometimes the bad news travels quicker than good news, but, this is phenomenal news that we need to make sure our public is aware that, the benefit to our community with this kind of thing is going to be seen for decades ahead. This isn't something that somebody sees a brand-new flashy, whatchamacallit or whatever you want to build. This is something that is going to last for generations to come of what we're building here. So with that, that's all I'm going to say. Anything else? Anybody else? Thank you again. Okay. With that, we will move on to our approval of the consent agenda, if somebody cares to make that motion. Okay, Sarah, Ms. Hugo makes that motion, supported by Ms. Ryder.
Motion by Hugo, supported by Ryder on the consent agenda. Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Trustee Ryder.
Yes.
Treasurer Yanshaw.
Yes.
6-0. Motion passes.
Thank you. Under old business, our strategic plan review, anything mentioned on that, Dennis? I know we went over the audit. Was there anything else that we wanted to cover tonight on?
Yeah, a couple points that I think are important to discuss on the strategic plan review. First is with the August election, we do have the millage proposal for Parks and Recreation on the ballot. That millage did expire, so we have funding for this year because it went out in the December tax bills, but without a renewal, that's going to severely limit what we can do moving forward with capital improvements out at the park if it doesn't pass. When we did our community survey in 2024, got the results in October of 2024, overwhelmingly the respondents in there asked the board to increase the millage out at the park. And while we did put that out at 1 mil last year, it was defeated, but again, it wasn't a full election, and when it was defeated, it was only by a few hundred votes. And that was, at a full mill. Could have been timing, could have been we should have done it when there was a major election going on the mid-year or, this year. So hopefully the folks turn out. The community survey told us you wanted us to continue to make those improvements out there. The board heard you. They put it as a millage question, and hopefully it moves forward. Without it, it really would take a hit on the general fund. And I just want to remind people, before 2016, when that first Parks millage passed, I got here in 2015, we had to shut down the basketball courts because they were in such disrepair that somebody could have been severely injured out there. What have we done for the 10 years with that millage? I think when you go out to the park, you see what we've done, with the new basketball courts, the upgrades to the softball fields, and what the impact that has on Genesee County. We just had the Fire Sticks tournament out there a couple weekends ago that brought in 100 teams to Genesee County and has, just an unbelievable impact, a financial impact on the businesses in Genesee County, as well as the Tourism and Convention Bureau for the funds that they raise through hotel stays. So a lot of what we did, and the park generally operates by trying to raise its own funds. Most of the programs that they run, we try to make them as cost neutral as possible. But the capital improvements like we're doing right now, that money is generally used for matching funds. You do a $2 million project out there, but we're really only spending $500,000 in the millage funds because all the rest of it was through grants through the federal government and state government. Being able to, increase the parking by 300 parking spots, including making several more ADA improvements so that more people can use the park. And we really are pushing that park without barriers so that there's something available for everyone. I think that you've been very good stewards of the funds that came in over that 10-year millage, and I hope that people get out and vote and let us know one way or the other if they want us to continue on that mission or if they want to go just into a maintenance role and allow deferred maintenance to occur at what had happened, up to 10 years ago. The second thing is part of your strategic plan. One of the things we talked about was to enhance the Parks and Recreation, including establishing neighborhood pocket parks. One of the things the township got last year was a donation of property for 7 acres along Saginaw Street. And so we do have that available to consider expanding our parks operations. We've also been approached and had a developer ask about doing a property swap, 7 acres for 7 acres for the parcel that was the former golf course on McCandlish, including the clubhouse, which I think the board should maybe have parks looking into that, depending on how the millage comes out. It might be worth discussing either that land swap and making a park there where you could have a bit of a community center in the old clubhouse for running different programs, community education, yoga, that kind of thing. Or if we don't do the land swap, to look at that 7 acres and taking a look at that, to maybe look at that as an additional community park to serve a different segment of the population on the opposite side of the township. So I think that would go a long way towards doing what one of your objectives was, which was to create additional park opportunities. So I think it would be worth exploring, and I think we'll bring that to you, have Parks and Recreation to begin to explore that, look at the properties, get some maps up and let you see it, then the proximity to the people that it could potentially serve, and then be able to give us some direction on how you'd like us to move forward.
I don't know, Dennis, we don't have a goal of having a park within a certain, or maybe Mr. Kimmer can answer, but within a certain radius of all residents, do we? I've seen other.
Walk, is the national park standard is access from anyone's home within 10.
Is that what it is?
Walk,
Okay.
anywhere in your community. So
Okay.
It's a great goal.
Right.
We really started talking about that when now Genesee County Parks Director Patrick Linehan was here as our Parks Director. Is a big push on trying to get those national park standards.
Mm-hmm. So, that combined with the pathways that can lead people to parks, it takes matching dollars to be able to make those things happen. I think we've had I'm aware of other parcels that individuals have been interested in looking at donating them to the township for park property as well. The problem is we can only maintain so many properties. We could have probably more parks in more areas of the township, but having a 200-acre park to maintain isn't cheap. And it's more than just building something, it's maintaining that something, whether it's ball fields, fences, trails. I mean, I give the example that we have the pathway out at Bicentennial, and that pathway has a bridge, and I believe the bridge, when we replaced it a year and a half ago, I think was over $200,000. So that right there took a big chunk of that year's millage just to replace one bridge. We have the pathway on Grand Blanc Road that was built years ago that at some point soon that probably needs repaving and probably some re-engineering in some areas where it's low and what have you. I'm not sure what year that was built, but it wasn't built definitely to the standards of our new pathways. So the millage is critical. I think that parcel on McCandlish is much more suitable for park area than along Saginaw Street. That's my perception anyways. Maybe board members have other feelings, but I think it's something we should explore and get our board looking at that for future use. regardless of the millage, but obviously it wouldn't be able to be developed unless we find money for it, but I think it's worth looking at. Any other thoughts from any board members? Okay, well, we'll look forward to looking at that, at those parcels here in the future.
New business, Mr. Supervisor.
Yes, thank you. Item A, the board will consider a motion to reschedule the next township board meeting from August 4th to August 5th. We have a number of things happening on the 4th. Number one is the election is going on. Number two is it's National Night Out, and we have the police department hosting our National Night Out, and that date is chosen by the national organization that puts that whole thing together. So it's the first Tuesday each year of August, and that's when the election happens to fall this year. So anything to report on the National Night Out, Chief?
We hope everybody can come out. We're going to have a great time. Friendly competition with the fire department again. That's the plan. Yeah. So, hopefully we see a lot of people out there.
Okay, very good. With that,
Motion's in order. I'll
it
make a
is.
motion,
Okay,
Mr.
motion
Supervisor.
by Clerk Robertson,
Support.
supported by Trustee Hugo.
Motion by, Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Trustee Ryder.
Yes.
6-0. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item B, the board will consider a motion to accept the 2026-2027 Senior Center millage budget and submittal to Genesee County. Mr. Kimmer?
All right, good evening, everyone. The item before you tonight is something we do every July. As you know, the county's fiscal year operates from October through September. And so as part of this process, they ask that we get the board approval for submittal of the proposed budget for the Grand Blanc Senior Center. The Office of Senior Services plans to increase our allocation by 5% this year to $227,478. As a reminder, it does, on average, it costs us about $350,000 to $400,000 a year to operate the senior center. So we do make up that difference with rentals and other sources of income, as well as some offsetting of the general fund as well.
Okay. Any questions, concerns? I'll make the motion that we move forward on the budget.
Motion by Bennett.
Support by Treasurer Yancho.
Treasurer Yancho on item 8B. Trustee Ryder.
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
6-0. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item C, the board will consider a motion to approve Resolution 2623 for a special liquor license for the VFW Post 822 Back to the Bricks, which will be on August 12th through August 14th. The hours will be from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m., and that will be at the VFW Post 822 located at 5065 South Saginaw Street in Flint. So I think we've done this numerous times. Mr. White?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. White.
Support.
Support by Ms. Hugo.
Motion by White, supported by Hugo on item 8C. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Trustee Ryder.
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Myself, yes. 6-0. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item D, the board will consider a motion to approve Resolution 2624, which allows the Bikes on the Bricks police escorted ride to operate through designated areas of the township on September 12th, 2026. And quite a sight to see when those bikes roll through. So if anybody wants to see them, keep your eyes out on September 12th. I think they come down Saginaw Street, right, Chief, or at least part of it? Okay.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Supervisor, if that's appropriate.
Sure. Well, support.
Motion by Robertson, supported by Bennett on item 8D. Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Trustee Ryder.
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
6-0. Motion passes.
Thank you. Item E, the board will consider a motion to accept ordinance 26-1 as presented as a first reading for the Do Not Knock registry. We have Mr. Smith with us. Are you speaking to that, or, okay, Mr. Lemata?
Typically, it would have been your deputy clerk, Lynn Henry, unavailable this evening. So the Do Not Knock registry, what that came about is really we were requested by some residents of Grand Blanc Township about our peddler's license and people coming to knock on their doors. The city of Grand Blanc developed this no-knock registry and implemented it last year. And so we have been in contact with them to talk about the success of it. What this does is when they come for their peddler's license that they're required to come and get from the clerk's department here, is if you were to move this ordinance forward, residents could let us know, and their registration would stay active for 5 years, or unless they moved and somebody wanted to be taken off. But it would, when somebody came to get their peddler's license to do door-to-door, they would also receive the registry, which says you absolutely cannot go to these addresses on this list. If they were to violate that and go to the addresses to solicit at those, a complaint would then trigger that we could remove their peddler's license and their ability to go door-to-door in Grand Blanc Township. This would not apply to political candidates going door-to-door, I should note.
Why are you looking at me?
I believe you're known to go door-to-door periodically.
I'm kidding.
It would not prevent that candidates from going door-to-door, obviously.
So a couple of questions. Is there any penalty for those that don't get a peddler's license that go door-to-door?
I don't know if there's a financial penalty, but we do, if they don't have a peddler's license, they are not authorized to go, and we can have a police enforcement to go and have them cease and desist and removed from the township.
Okay. The other question is if, let's say I'm on the do not knock list and I move from my home, are we working this with the assessing department for the tie-in personal residence or trigger somehow to come off that list when somebody moves out of that home, do you know?
I don't know about the mechanics of that right now. When we, if we've worked that through, we have a provision in there that it lasts for 5 years or until you remove yourself from the list or you transition ownership of the home. So I don't know that we have the mechanism in place that when somebody files a new PRE,
Right.
that would trigger that. It, obviously, something we can do that it would the filing of the PRE would trigger to the registry to Although I'd be surprised if somebody wanted to remove their name and.
Right.
I mean, maybe some people like door-to-door disruptions. I'm not one of those people, and I will probably be the first one who puts my name on the do not knock registry if you guys move this forward. But it does, I think it does provide that opportunity for somebody who really doesn't want to be bothered.
Any idea how the enrollment will work? Will it be an online type thing that people can put their name in and address?
We can do it however we want. We can have it online with a link to our website. We can have somebody stop in and fill out the form. Either way.
Okay.
The motion's in order, Mr. Supervisor. I'll make that
Sure.
motion.
Go ahead.
Support. Motion seconded by Township. Okay. Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee Ryder?
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho?
Yes.
Trustee Hugo?
Yes.
Trustee White?
Yes.
6-0. Motion passes.
Thank you.
I want to clarify that was accepting it as a first reading. It'll come back before you next month.
Very good. Item F, the board will consider a motion to approve zoning case number 681 to rezone 2040 Maple Avenue from office service, OS, to single-family residential, R3. We have Mr. Smith with us. Good evening.
Good evening. So on the July 9th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission voted 8-0 to recommend approval for zoning case 681 at 2040 Maple Avenue. The applicant requested the parcel mentioned above, currently zoned office service, changed to R3 Single Family Residential for the purpose of making this her primary residence. Planning and Zoning Department would also recommend a motion for approval for the parcel to be rezoned from OS to R3. The reason for the request, also why Planning and Zoning has recommended this, typically you don't go backwards. Once it's commercial, we don't go back to residential. When we have certain scenarios where we deem fit, we've had issues in the past, we did have some issues with the previous tenant of this commercial parcel, there is avenues to go backwards, and this is one of those cases. So we've recommended also with the Planning Commission to go backwards as well.
It's kind of a strange parcel they have as commercial anyways in that area.
If you look at our zoning map, it is a only zoned office or commercial type parcel within a half mile in any direction. So I believe it makes sense also. To me, it looks like it's spot zoned to go back and have everything surrounding it, the subdivision behind it is also zoned R3 as well.
What was it previously as a business, do we know?
There was
Gould Engineering.
Brink, there was a Gould, there was Black or Blue Lotus. They sold different fares and things like that. There's been multiple different low-end, low-traffic businesses in that spot, yes.
I believe that was previously constructed as a residence.
Yes, currently, the original was a residence. I believe it was the old farmland for all of the, what is now the subdivision behind it. And then I couldn't find any paperwork in our files of how it ever got turned into office, but
Yeah, that's what it
where we are, and we deem that it should be.
Make the motion to move forward on rezoning.
Support.
Mr. White, you have,
This is like a 2.5 acre parcel. Could this be split into multiple? Could someone subdivide this?
No, they don't have enough road frontage.
Flag lot.
Yes.
Okay, motion by Bennett,
I'll support.
going to support, Michelle? Or- Okay.
support
by
by
Mr. Ryder.
Ryder. Very good. Trustee White.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Trustee Ryder.
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay. Item G, the board will consider a motion to approve Resolution 2625 authorizing a fireworks display at the Captain's Club of Woodfield on August 14th, 2026. Probably brings up a few other issues when it comes to fireworks in general, right, Mr. Limita?
Yeah, this is before you, and, obviously, we had one not that long ago that was before you as well, and I think that with this come before you, I can tell you that everything's complete, the application's good, been reviewed by the fire marshal and recommended for approval. But I do think it brings up a larger question that I think the board should take up and maybe have that conversation, with the fire marshal as well. But the integrity of the neighborhoods, we have a new wedding venue that's going to be complete in the next couple of months here. I'm afraid that Captain's Club is starting to advertise weddings or book weddings with a fireworks feature installed with it. If we had the new one come in as well, and it also came through with that, if they started doing packages, there are all residential areas around there. And so I just think that we need to proceed with caution and maybe have that conversation that do we want to regulate this in some way, or do we could end up with having wedding venues doing these celebrations every Friday and Saturday night for the entire summer months. And again, Woodfield is surrounded by residential. The new wedding venue is also surrounded by residential. So I think it's just a word of caution. I would recommend the approval of this one, again, because it's come through. We haven't had any concerns expressed. It's all been approved. I do think it leads itself to the bigger question of, do we need to have that conversation about having some sort of regulations for the sanctity of the residential neighborhoods surrounding these wedding venues?
Well, we look at the number of, you've got a number of churches that have weddings and wedding halls, a number of halls that could be used for wedding receptions. We've got a couple of different golf courses, actually. I don't know how many weddings Warwick has, but I have seen municipalities that fireworks are allowed for you know, public type events, like, you know, something that's open to the public. I'm not sure, you know, and they don't allow private fireworks. Didn't our ordinance in the past restrict it? We didn't allow, because I remember turning down some fireworks requests in the past that,
We didn't have it so that they couldn't do it. It was just like this. They come on an individual basis, and we denied them. In fact, it was routine and pretty standard to deny them about 10 years ago, our requests. But a lot of those, one was to do it in the middle of Warwick Hills, one was to do it in the middle of Pine Hollow. And, you know, obviously there's some concerns about the falling debris coming from the fireworks right smack dab in the middle of those. These ones, there's a little bit of a different twist on them because they are doing it over the golf course, or they're, you know, potentially could do it over a field. So I think that's the difference.
yes, Michelle, Ms. Ryder?
Do you think that, is this new, that you think they're putting this package together with fireworks? Or does
I'm
it-
concerned because this is the second one for a wedding at Captain's Club, and so it could just be the wedding planners contacting the fireworks display folks and getting it, but I would definitely have a real concern if
Yeah.
it started becoming a package deal.
Right, because the first thing that comes to my mind is it's maybe competitive because this new venue is going to be opening, and then we are looking at,
Several fireworks shows every
Right.
weekend.
right, and I love fireworks, but that seems,
But if you live there and they have
Right.
it every weekend, and it's every Friday and Saturday, I think they would get old at a
yeah,
point. And I'd rather have the conversation preemptively than trying to
Right.
fix something once it's already occurred.
And we do get complaints whenever we have fireworks, and I don't know, everybody who's on social media would probably see some of the complaints that, you know, people's dogs are, you know,
Veterans.
what's that?
Veterans.
Yes, the people with PTSD, you know, and I can feel for those people, especially if they live near where these are being shot off. You know, we do it at our tree lighting, we get complaints about that. You know,
They will
that's-
always come before you, so, you know, you have the right to reject or accept them each time they come. But if it started to become a routine and, you know, then you accept some but reject others, there's got to be some kind of parameters. I think we should
Yeah.
settle on something that helps us make that decision.
I really don't want it to become subjective, where it's, well, let's allow this one but not that one, because then it, I don't know on what basis we make it subjective. I'd rather much more have it an objective, you know, decision that determines whether or not we allow fireworks or not. But Clerk Robertson?
Yeah, there may be a number of places that are conducive to having a wedding as a venue, for a venue for a wedding. Not necessarily everything's conducive for fireworks. I'm concerned, you know, I would think the fire chief would probably have an opinion about how much radius you need of open space in order to make fireworks safely launched, if you will. If you got neighborhoods all around, that's more of a concern than if you've got the open space of a golf course. I don't know, I'm speculating, but it seems to me, I mean, we're dealing with explosives here, when you're right down to it.
We do get complaints even, you know, around the 4th of July on debris, and I know the police departments handle a number of complaints where debris is raining down on people's roofs and on their vehicle. They have their vehicles out in their driveway, and seeing red stuff dropping down on your brand-new truck or car, you know, isn't real pleasing. So I get those messages on 4th of July right on, you know, during the weekend, that, hey, this stuff, you know, so we start doing commercial type stuff. Obviously, you know, something our fire department, whether it's chief or our fire marshal, are going to take a look at, you know, those cases and say, I mean, we don't need brush fires either with fields around them. So that's also a concern, I think. But I think it's something worth us looking at closer and coming up with something objective. The board is in concurrence. I would go along with this one, but I think we do need to look at our policy a little bit closer as to what we need to do on this.
Is a motion in order, Mr.
Do the research.
Is there a consensus that we need to do more homework on this? I mean, I'm in favor of passing it. Mr. White?
I don't think it's the fireworks. I mean, I'll leave the actual fire issue to the professionals. It's the noise. Are there, I don't know, are there sort of comparable alternatives that don't make the big booms?
Drone
That's-
shells.
That's what really just aggravates people the most. It sends the dogs and people with PTSD. You know, some people go to sleep early and you get woke up at 9:45 because a bunch of drunk people are firing off fireworks. Yeah, so, I mean, we have to support, I think we have to support it tonight, but.
Yeah. Well, the drone shows are pretty quiet, I think, with music accompanying them. You know, but they're also very expensive at this point, but, yes. Mr.
I'm concerned that having non-holiday type fireworks, especially when they're not put on by the municipality, that it kind of legitimizes these backyard people to put on their own fireworks display on any given Thursday or whatever. We get that all the time in my neighborhood where they're non-conforming use of fireworks. And I think that this kind of proliferation would just legitimize those people. And I think that drones would be a much more effective celebration.
Quieter anyways, right? I think.
They're actually pretty nice looking.
Hence the need for the longer discussion, but
So it sounds like there's a consensus that we need to discuss this a little bit more and come up with maybe a better policy. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'll make a motion.
motion by Hugo, supported by Ryder. Trustee Hugo.
Yes.
Trustee White.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Supervisor Bennett.
Yes.
Trustee Ryder.
Yes.
Treasurer Yancho.
Yes.
6-0, motion passes.
Future agenda items, Mr. Limita?
I don't really have anything at this point. We're, we'll continue to work on the strategic plan, but I think at your next meeting, since it will be August 5th instead of 4th, we'll know the outcome of the ballot proposal on the millage for Parks and Rec, and that'll help us determine how we move forward with master plan for the park that we're currently undergoing at this time.
Right. One of the projects currently, if I can mention, maybe you'll mention it under your report, but not to jump ahead, but, the millage, also with Baldwin Road, the DDA had some funds that were remaining and used them for the engineering for a pathway down Baldwin. So you have Dort Highway pathway that ends at Baldwin Road. We've gone ahead and done the engineering for a pathway down Baldwin. So millage funds, in that case, we'll probably use DDA funds for the matching dollars, but, there's a number of other areas that we'd like to do that, but matching funds would help for that. Mr. Yancho, anything with regard to Treasurer's Department?
Not in regard to treasurers, but I think that they're getting ready to announce the opening. I know people have used the Cook-Embury pathway, and just today I saw them installing park benches and waste receptacles on Cook Road at that intersection, Dorton Cook. So we're moving right along.
Yeah. Anything on the election, Clerk Robertson?
We continue to receive absentee ballots, and early voting starts on Saturday and runs through August 3rd, with the election being on August 4th.
Any idea how many ballots have been turned in so far? I know earlier in the week it was around 2,000.
We continue to get them on a daily basis, so I cannot give you a precise figure, but you're accurate as of, what was it?
A couple days ago.
A couple days ago.
Okay. And with that, Mr. Yancho is correct. The Embry-Cook pathway is looking phenomenal. The Perry Road pathway, I haven't seen it in the last couple of days, but I'm understanding that that also has been getting asphalt.
Yes.
I also heard that while the pathway on Perry Road may be nearing completion, the bridge, they're still waiting for that to be put in place, so that's going to be, I don't know how long, but a little while anyways. I imagine they're building it somewhere, and it's going to be set in place when they get it. we would like to do a ribbon cutting, what have you, when those pathways are completed. So we'll keep everybody appraised on that. Mr. Limata?
A couple things. The interviews continue. We're filling a position in assessing for another assessing officer. And we have those interviews this week for a couple of candidates. We've got it scheduled for a second round of interviews for the executive assistant for the superintendent's department, also scheduled for later this week or next week, early next week. The pathway ribbon cutting that we were just talking about, that's probably looking towards the end of August, because by the time they get the turf established and all those things in place, we need to have a discussion about that for where you want to do the ribbon cutting, because it's going to, from a safe parking perspective, we're probably going to have to close down a portion of the road, whether that be Cook from the roundabout, Embry, or some piece of that where we could do it safely and be able to celebrate that. But it's probably the end of August we're looking at. And then the budget process is underway. All of the information has been sent out to the department heads. They're working on that along with the capital planning. We're following our plan. And I know as board officers, you guys all received the memo as well in charge of departments. But that is taking place and on track for moving forward. They have until August 1st from departments to get it into Kathy and I, and then the process will start going through. We'll look at their requests, but I think it's that time of year where we get to allocate those funds. And so from the board's perspective, if there's anything from a budget perspective that we haven't done in the past, something that you would want us or any individual department to consider, this would be a great time to share that information while we're putting the initial budget packets together.
Okay. One of the things with regard to that ribbon cutting for the pathways, one of the things a couple of us have discussed is possibly even starting out at Bicentennial Park and parking there and having everybody ride to a certain point or walk or what have you on the pathway, and maybe even have some kind of ride out to Goodrich and back, something along those lines. But we'll figure something out to do it in a fun and exciting way. Okay.
Motion to adjourn in order, Mr. Supervisor.
It is.
And I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:13
We'll see everyone on the 5th of August.